This week on Healthy Living, Menopause and Andropause, navigating the seasons of change. And we explore menopause and andropause as two seniors get personal and share their stories. Plus, how much do you know about andropause? Your answers are coming up. Finally, healthcare for some immigrants is not lost in translation thanks to medical interpreters. That's in this edition of Healthy Living. Hello and welcome to another episode of Healthy Living. I'm Linor Moudou. Menopause is often associated with hot flashes, night sweats, mood swings, and changes in menstrual cycles. Menopause is a biological transition characterized by a decrease in estrogen and progesterone levels. It typically occurs in women between the ages of 45 and 55 and marks the end of women's reproductive years. Have you heard of andropause? Often called menopause, andropause is a less well-known but equally significant changes in hormonal balance and physical well-being. According to US-based Mayo Clinic, andropause typically starts in men between 40 and 50 years and is associated with a gradual decline in testosterone levels. Symptoms can include fatigue, reduced libido, mood changes, and changes in the body composition. The physiological transitions of menopause and andropause, though natural, bring forth various challenges, both physical and emotional. VOA's Emmanuel Jones-Tapp explores how one woman and one man in Cameroon are living with the hormonal changes.
Mirabelle Dehi is returning from the market where she went to buy women's clothing to resell in her neighborhood. The 64-year-old woman says menopause has not stopped her.
I can still remarry. There are many suitors despite these wrinkles. Nothing has changed in me. Someone proposed to me recently, but I said no as we have some problems. When someone flirts with me, I feel like I'm still alive.
At the age of 50, the former hotel employee saw her life as a woman change because of menopause.
I had hot flashes from time to time. Then one day when I was off from work, I bled a lot. It was from that moment that my periods stopped until now.
Dehi says the biological transition went smoothly.
I didn't think about going to the hospital. If the bleeding had continued the next day, I would have gone to the hospital. Given that it stopped, I understood it was menopause. It is psychological.
It's not often thought about, but men also experience similar hormonal changes. At the age of 55, this retired former railway employee noticed the first signs of andropause, sometimes referred to as menopause.
After the first symptoms, I spoke to my doctor at work. I was still working for the railway company at the time. The doctor told me that it was normal. He explained that the organs in the body behave just like when you get tired after a walk, because at a certain age, the male genital organ can rest momentarily and get back up again.
The U.S. National Institute of Health defines andropause as a syndrome associated with a decrease in sexual satisfaction or a decline in a feeling of general well-being with low levels of testosterone in older men. At 67 years, Njok remains open to sexual activity.
Even now, I still have sexual desires. The desire goes away when you die. Even now, well, that's how it is.
However, at the beginning of andropause, Njok and his partner had to communicate about the situation.
The woman knows her man. When the virility declined, she felt it. She even asked what was happening, saying I was sexually very active before, but now it is less frequent.
Nevertheless, Njok resorted to traditional medicine.
There are bags that can help. I went to the village and did a colon cleansing because one of my advisors told me that the decline in virility is due to the accumulation of toxins in the pelvis. I did a detox and continue to do so from time to time.
Dehi and Njok have experienced the hormonal changes differently.
Personally, I didn't have any problems and my body remained intact. It's as if I was 30. I don't feel anything for now.
When you have a woman, a wife, when you are a man worthy of that name, it is inconvenient. When you are hungry, so to speak, you have to eat. The sexual appetite does not disappear and needs to be fed.
For Emmanuel Jules Ntap in Yaoundé, Michelle Joseph, VOA.
Menopause and andropause are two significant phases in the lives of women and men as they age. Although menopause is often heard of, andropause remains unknown by many. We asked some viewers in Jos, Nigeria, if they have heard of andropause or perhaps experienced some of the symptoms. Take a look.
Honestly, I've never thought men can ever cease to be fertile in that sense. You know, growing up, we just believe that women have time time to stop, having kids or giving birth or being productive. While men, it's as if it's forever. You can be 80 and you can still have a baby and stuff.
We have never heard anybody talking about it. It's always a woman's problem. People are waiting for women to reach menopause, but I've never heard of a man looking forward to entering andropause.
Men are always active. It doesn't matter whether he's 88 years or 22 years or 25. Men are always active. I think men always want to have sex, I think. And I've never heard of a period when men cannot conceive. Because they cannot impregnate a woman, let's call it like that. So I don't think men can have that pause.
I'm hearing it for the first time, but I studied biological science in the university, but I could really get an insight into what andropause means. Okay. It means a time when the hormones that makes man to be sexually active drops or stops, the body stops secreting those hormones.
We asked on Facebook if you believe a man can experience a hormonal change such as menopause. Fiacre Manario in Rwanda says, andropause is a natural phase in a man's life. Innocent John in Burundi writes, despite experiencing andropause and a decrease in energy levels, a man can still father children. And Isidore Nsengiyumwa says in Rwanda, I personally know a 91-year-old man who continues to father children with his young wife in his second marriage. Dr. Habtamu Adero is Assistant Professor of Urology at Addis Ababa University in Ethiopia. He tells us more about the challenges and management of andropause.
Normally in males, there is expected decrement in testosterone level with age. It's said that after the age of 30, every year, like 1% decrement in testosterone happens to almost everybody. So with aging, there is a decrement, but it's somehow different from menopause, which is universal, which happens to every woman. And also, it's like there is a fixed time, at least in a range. There is a known time of this menopause, so it's just a certain thing which happens. But when it comes to andropause, it's not like that. It may not happen to all men, and also it's just insidious. The onset is slow, and the progress is also slow. So then, with this decrement of testosterone, men will develop symptoms with time. So it's somehow different. And also there are other factors which make this person susceptible or at risk of having this andropause. So these are like in men who are obese, who are smokers and with low physical activity, and some chronic medical illnesses. They have increased risk of getting into andropause. So when you come to the symptoms, which are associated with the decreased testosterone level, normally testosterone it's a masculine hormone, so which makes as a masculine starting from the childhood. So when there is a decrement in testosterone, there are different symptoms. So to start with, the common ones are regarding sexual activity. So there will be decreased libido or decreased desire to have sex, and there will be decreased erection or erectile dysfunction maybe there, like including the morning erection, which happens in a healthy man. So all these sexual-related symptoms are common ones. So when a guy has these symptoms, so the first thing that we'll do is we'll have some tests, including the serum testosterone level, which means the amount of testosterone in the blood will be tested. There are values in the normal values. So it has to be confirmed with this low testosterone level, the first thing is that. And the other is these symptoms are not specific. So there are different disease entities which can bring symptoms like this. So the guy has to get, or the patient has to get different workups, different investigation to rule out these things, okay? So that's the first thing that we do. And once it's confirmed that the problem is only the decrement or lack of testosterone, there are different supplements, different testosterone supplements. They have different preparations, like there are patches which can be applied to different parts of the body. And also there are gels which can be applied to the skin and also to the nostrils also. And we do have some tablets and or including injections also. As I told earlier, the risk factors are like decreased physical activity, smoking, and obesity. These are the common ones. So generally having a healthy lifestyle, like getting involved into exercise, like decreasing weight, and also ceasing the smoking or stopping smoking.
For many immigrants, a mastery of everyday English does not mean they feel comfortable in all settings, like doctors' offices. That's where medical interpreters play a crucial role. But access to these highly skilled professionals is not guaranteed for many Asian American and Pacific Islander communities. Ali Rojin reports.
In San Francisco's Chinatown, Bi Huang sells jewelry and other Chinese goods as she has for the last 30 years. In her shop, she strings English together as easily as beads on twine. But outside, it's different. Even routine doctor's appointments can feel foreign. So Bi usually requests an interpreter to speak her native Cantonese, a language spoken by over 85 million people worldwide.
It is essential to have someone who is able to translate for me while attending medical appointments. If there is information I don't understand, it can be pivotal to my health.
Northeast Medical Services, or NEMS, provides many of those services. Dr. Amy Tang is the Director of Immigrant Health at NEMS. She says screening for and treating hepatitis and other common healthcare issues here reduces the risk of patients failing to follow up with specialists because of language barriers.
It's really important that we train our providers to manage it in the primary care setting and not have to refer out to specialists every time, since it's so common.
Dr. Tang speaks Mandarin, and many staff members are at least bilingual. Most of the patients at this NEMS location are Chinese American.
We can also probe further about maybe reasons for reluctance, or understand some of the cultural background norms of why they may be reluctant to try this medication, or their fear about a side effect, or their concern about a vaccine.
I'll choose Lao.
When doctors and nurses can't speak a patient's language, they'll use one of these devices, which connect to interpreters over video or the phone. But calls can get dropped, and wait times for interpreters can drag on past the appointment time. That's why the gold standard is in-person medical interpreters. Alice Wong is a staff interpreter at UC San Francisco Hospital and is certified in both Mandarin and Cantonese.
So I'm going to look in your ears first.
Today she's helping a Cantonese-speaking patient get fitted for a new hearing aid. Because when language isn't a barrier, doctors can focus on their primary job, taking care of their patients.
Thanks for watching Healthy Living. For the latest news and coverage, stay connected to Voice of America at voaafrica.com. You can follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at @LinochMoudou. That's our show for today. Until next time, stay well and strive to make every day a healthy day.